Let's go! LSU, ULM. Obviously, we're going to spend a lot of time on this sputtering yet somewhat successful LSU offense versus ULM. What are some things that they need to work on to beat Texas A&M? And, well, is Max Johnson actually a good starting quarterback? And right before this screen right here to Malik Nabers, Max Johnson hit Malik on a really good out route. And obviously, the best play made on this screen. This was something I thought was going to help Max Johnson out. They play with a thicker defensive line with 4 guys. And I thought ULM defensively was going to run more 3-man fronts with delayed blitzers, guys that are quarterback spies. And here, we call the perfect play. They are bringing 6 guys on a blitz, and we run a screen. And for this to work, we need Austin Deculus to make this block right here. Just focus on Austin Deculus here. Boom! That is one of the hardest blocks I think I've ever seen. That was really vicious, and I'm glad Austin Deculus is getting this moment. Look at Big Cardell running down the field. So you get the end zone camera here, and this is something I thought really helped Max Johnson out in this game. So Max struggles when teams run a QB spy and they bring him on a delay, on a green dog, or whatever word you want to use, where the linebacker comes as a layer to the pressure. And as you see here, ULM has thicker defensive linemen. They run more of a traditional 4-man front. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, so Max has a chance to really make a play and have a decent game. And he throws a strike right here. Once again, that's an easy throw, and that's just vicious. I mean, that is just as good as it gets. And if you're Cardell, he did a good job hustling. There's no way he could have blocked this guy running backwards. That's good stuff. As well of a screen as you'll ever see. Of course, you would like a touchdown out of this, but I think we got maximum yardage out of this play. Alrighty, so there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Max, where he is at his worst, and this actually dates back to last year, is in the red zone. We did a full film study where Max missed so many red zone throws versus Ole Miss, in particular into the purple end zone, I like to call it, for whatever reason. This has always been a struggle for Max. But for some reason, LSU this year has not been good on 1st and goal from the 8 or 9. And this is one of the hardest places on the field, right? So this yard line in particular is really tricky. So on this play, we actually do get creative. We run a pitch here to the left. Jack did a good job kicking this guy out, and this is just excellent blocking right here. We just need TDP to make a play, and he does bang it up in there for some good yards. I'm sorry if this is a little blurry, but this was a good play call right here by Jake PEETZ. Alrighty, so now we get to here. This is a touchdown. I like this look. We scored a touchdown versus Alabama with BTJ in the backfield as the personal protector, and they didn't even cover him. So let's see what ULM does here on this touchdown. Max Johnson gets the snap. Once again, the MVP of the game last night was the offensive line. I don't know why ULM did not switch things up defensively. I would have gone to a 3-man front and play lighter players because their thicker defensive linemen just did not make any plays at all. Look at this pocket right here, okay? And we'll show you the end zone camera to see. It looks as if Max could have gotten Malik right here, but he does what we've been begging him to do. Once again, Liam giving up too much bull rush right here, but just tuck in and run it, right? Look at all this space. We have been begging Max on this channel to take these yards, and we'll take it every time, okay? Didn't even need the shake. Just full speed, get in there. If you can run it into the end zone without making the throw, do it every single time, especially when it's as wide open as this. So, all right, so we'll take it, but let's take a look at this. So there's one more corner to the far right that you can't see on the screen. And let's see where Max potentially could have gone because they are playing man coverage across the way. And let's see. All right, so let's, once again, we're going to have to assume some things because this angle isn't wide enough. So what they're doing here is they're playing man coverage. So 20 has JARAY, 4 has BTJ, Jack BECH, 15 has the running back, and I think 9 has Malik. So the first thing here is it's somewhat clear that they're in man coverage. There's a guy to the far right here, but it's kind of not clear at the same time. But what Max should see here pre-snap is, look, if they're in man coverage and there's a guy to the far right and they're this close to the line of scrimmage, where is the safest open space for me to throw this football? Well, it would be to this back pylon. And what you have here is JARAY JENKINS running and basically a corner to this side, to this pylon, okay? And what you see here is something that you don't see. All right, so JARAY is going up against number 20 here. So we don't see this right here, but I'm guessing JARAY JENKINS was open going this way. Once again, it's impossible to tell, but still, this is a safe throw that Max could have made to the back right pylon. But as you see here, Max is paying attention to, well, his guy, Jack BECH, and Jack BECH is running he's just trying to get open here. Number 9 is blocking his interior route, and Jack drifts into this space. Good decision by Max to not throw this football, but it's also not open, okay? So let's go to our next read, and this would have been the third read. Malik right here for a touchdown, but once again, Max was just hoping Jack BECH, was going to get open right here, and he didn't, okay? So at this point, it's smart as a quarterback to just tuck and run. And once again, because they have thicker players, Cardell is dominating his guy. 91 is getting some good push here on Liam, but they're not fast guys. They're not as good tackling guys in the open field as, let's say, a blitzing linebacker. Because what a lot of defenses did versus Max over the last couple of weeks, they would bring a delayed blitzer because Max would hold on to the ball too long. And what the quarterback spy, aka green dog linebacker blitzer, would do is just wait for the protection to break down and then go sack Max. But here, they decided just to bring somebody, and look at how much Ed Ingram just dominates this guy, okay? Lang, a really good offensive lineman for the Packers, made a really good point that if a guy jumps up in the air like this, you've got to punish him. And this was really good punishment right there by Ed Ingram to just blow number 10 out of this play. So what I would have done if I were ULM, if I would have watched any tape, I would have known to just delay number 10 on a blitz, and you're getting an easy sack here. But still, protection is really good outside of Liam giving up too much bull rush here. Max needs to get off this because it's not open. Okay, then his next read would have been Malik, but at this point, it's clear that the rushing lane is right there and you just take it. And Max should have taken more rushing lanes last year. Give this guy a little shake. Once again, Max with this jukes, he jukes very, very, very early before reaching the tackler. It's always been kind of strange to me, but we'll take a good touchdown right there. So we're not going to spend too much time on the defense, but they were really good yet again. A little sloppier than what they were versus Arkansas and Alabama, but this was just all Neil Farrell. So the first thing is he gets an amazing jump off this football. Look at this. Look, he is out of his stance quicker than anyone else. It helps that he was the closest to the ball, and he makes this play. He just jacks this center up, and then he also is blowing up this pulling guard, and then he also just happens to make the play. Just really good stuff by Neil all season long. Him and Damon Clark it's just really been carrying us this year. So they miss a wide open touchdown, and we get the football on first and 10 from our 1 yard line. We get a good run from TDP on first down, and I am shocked that ESPN did not. So ESPN cuts their full highlight on YouTube. This was by far Max's best throw. I have no idea how this did not make the highlight reel, because this is as good of a throw as you're ever going to see an LSU quarterback make semi-backed up into their own end zone. This was ridiculous, okay? And a lot of it comes down to Max has a really good rapport with JARAY. That helps out here, but this is just really good. Now, once again, I am not, qualified as a quarterback coach to talk about footwork. Max's footwork is very interesting. It can get a little bouncy at times. In other words, his feet can get very noisy. But either way, even though it doesn't look the absolute Joe Montana smoothest, so Max is looking right, and you notice he goes to his second read, trusting his really good pocket that's been giving him good protection all game. And you notice his feet just bounces a little bit, okay? It's a little noisy, but still, all the cleats are in the ground right here, and he fires a rifle here right over the head of this defensive back. It's a dangerous throw, but, it's a throw that more quarterbacks are able to make now. Dropping that ball on a dime over the sinking defensive back. So now Max is in a rhythm, all right? That was an elite throw, okay? And now this is the same play we ran versus Arkansas that I thought Malik could have done a little better job of after the catch. They ran this play with Nuss. And what essentially is happening here is Jack Bech is just clearing out, trying to draw as many defenders to him, okay? And it works, okay? ULM likes to sit back in zone and only rush 4. Once again, that was not a good strategy versus Max Johnson. This offensive line dominated what ULM was doing, and Max could throw this ball to TDP, or he can wait for this drag route to clear out, and he does. The ball could have been out already. Once again, this ball could have been out a half second earlier, but it finally does get out. And what Nuss did, the ball was a little behind Malik on the throw versus Arkansas. Max does a really good job leading him, even though it was still a little behind him there. And Malik actually does a better job after the catch. He gets upfield really fast. It's just really good stuff right here by Malik. All right, so let's talk about Jake PEETZ as a play caller. Max Johnson is on fire right now, and we decide to run this outside run. It just gets blown up. Safety is reading it and keying it the whole way. It's too long developing of a play. The quick pitches to the outside, that is not TDP's strength. So that's a stop on first down. So once again, Max Johnson's on fire. So, okay, we run on first down, which, by the way, analytically is not smart. The numbers and just any stat you look at always says you should throw on first down more often than not, especially when your quarterback is starting to throw some real dimes. So now we get to this second down, and we bring in Cole Taylor into the line of scrimmage, who, as many of you know, is a really bad blocker, okay? And on 2nd and 9, after Max Johnson is having a really good series and a really good start, we decide to pull Cardell Thomas, who hasn't played a lot, and Cole Taylor, and they bring a perfect timed slot corner blitz. And Cardell doesn't see it. So what Cardell should have done here is, instead of going right here, he should have seen this guy and pick him up, or Cole Taylor pick him up. But essentially we have two guys blocking the same guy, and this slot corner blitz just blows this up. And once again, Cole Taylor, who is not a good run blocker, just misses this block. Even though we have two guys to block this linebacker, we miss it anyway. We whiff it anyway. So this is as bad of a run blocking play as you're going to see. TDP did a good job making something out of nothing here, but that play should have gone for no more than 2 yards. Either way, calling a run there is just not smart. When Max is playing well and we are pulling a guy who is starting his first ever game and another guy who is not a good blocker. In fact, Cole Taylor's blocks have almost cost us games. And indeed, it cost us the game versus Arkansas last week. So even though the play worked because TDP has become a beast, it doesn't mean that it was smart, okay? So now we get to this 3rd and 2 right here, and Max makes the easy read right here to TDP, okay? And once again, I did not understand their defensive game plan at all. This time they did, bring a blitzer, but they just sunk too far back. These are the sticks right here if you're ULM. Once again, we could have hit JARAY for the first down. We could have hit TREY for the first down. And instead, Max makes the smart, safest throw to just move the chains here. Get TDP this ball on the outside and pick up the first down. Same thing here. We get a snap. And we are hitting TDP in the flat right here. Okay, let's see if there's anything else open. There wasn't. Good job by Max. All right, first read is gone. All right, so he's holding on to it. Let's see. Okay. This wasn't good quarterbacking. I thought it was at first. Once again, his pocket presence is just very erratic. Okay, he could have thrown this ball to TREY. He decided not to. He pump fakes. I think he was trying to pump fake to this guy. So he's holding on to the football right here. And your protection's eventually going to break down when you hold on to the football this long. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to tuck it and just go. Run this way. Or do the smart thing and run right up the middle. Step up into the pocket right here and just take these yards. I can't say it enough how many times Max Johnson this year has missed clear-cut scramble opportunities just to make it a more manageable second down. But instead, we're lollygagging in the pocket and, we almost walk into a sack when you see here, this is clean right here for him to step up into. Instead, we almost step up into the sack. Luckily, TDP was a good check down, and once again, TDP making something out of nothing here. He misses his tackle, and he's able to pick up 8 or so yards. So, once again, it's decent quarterbacking by Max. We avoided the sack and hit the check down, but if that's a better team, that's probably a sack right there. Boom! I'm looking at you right now. You're 17 minutes into the most boring game of all time, this LSU versus ULM game. So I appreciate you guys being diehard LSU supporters. I know you've already liked. I know you've already subscribed to this channel. So I appreciate all the support with the live streams, the event modes, the cash apps. It really is cool. So did I make these film studies too boring? I want this film study to be as much about you as it is about me or the team or whatever. This is something that we do so we can all learn together more about this team that we love so much. So what I'm going to do here is, but before we actually get to the next play, is bring up that Dan Mullen got fired. I'm kidding, but he is out at Florida. But what we're going to do, even though it is a little pixelated here, I want you to watch this play again, and I want you to tell me what potentially went wrong on this play. Okay, now that I've been able to watch this play a few times, it goes to show you the weaknesses of Max Johnson. And what we'll do is we'll go on ahead and run this play again from the snap. Let's see here. So, once again, ugly game copy. But you're watching this play. You're watching this play. You're watching this play, and we're going to go ahead and bring it back. Let me know if you guys picked up on what was potentially missed right here and why Max Johnson is a very limited quarterback. So as always, as a quarterback, you need to be able to do math. Now, a lot of you just think I am just beholden to a three-man front, but there is a reason why I think running a traditional four-man front is a little outdated, especially if you do it every snap, because it's easier to count numbers and potentially what players can and cannot do. So when you have 4 defensive linemen like this, it's easy to know as a quarterback that more than likely that at all times there's only going to be 7 guys into coverage that you really have to worry about. Okay, so if you're able to buy time and you know that they only have 7 guys back into coverage, if a play is long developing, if you step up into the pocket, something will eventually open up. And that is exactly what happens here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? Understand that if a receiver breaks off his route deep, there's going to be a good opportunity that that receiver is going to be open. And what happens here is Trey Palmer shows really good football IQ. Now, we've talked about Trey Palmer quite a bit on this channel. Him and Max just seem to don't have really any chemistry at all. So once again, you guys have seen the play. Max pump fake right here. But here's what happens that's very interesting. Okay, Trey Palmer does something smart. He sees, okay, all these guys are flat across the way. So what I'm going to do is break off my route and go deep. So, but you see here, Max Johnson did not step up into this pocket. Okay, so let's bring it back here just for a second. Max has the opportunity here to not run into the sack. I mean, this defensive tackle was getting dominated here by Cardell, who missed his block here a little, but Liam was there to help him out. So if Max steps up into this space, keeps his eyes downfield, look who is streaking wide open into the space. And would you know, if Max would have just stepped up, he would have easily seen Trey Palmer right here, and he is walking into the end zone for a touchdown. So we move ahead to here, and I know, and I've gotten some comments about this. Sometimes I get predictions right. Sometimes I get them wrong. And I'm not the only one that thought Jack Bech was going to be a beast. But it's unbelievable. I really... I mean, you can make a case that this is the best true freshman wide receiver season that we've seen in the modern era. Now, a lot of it comes down to the opportunities. He's gotten the opportunities. A lot of players don't get true freshman opportunities. This is definitely the best true freshman season since Odell, from start to finish. Kayshawn, of course, was better as a true freshman, but that was more towards the end of the season. But from start to finish, Jack has just been nothing short of incredible. Once again, really good call right here by Jake. If they are sitting in this deep of a zone, let's just throw it quickly to Jack Bech. I mean, who just makes football plays. Where the play was made, though, was by Malik Nabers. Malik's just a good teammate, guys. He just gets it. There's just no other way around it. Even when he was hurt to start the season, he was the first person to greet people coming off the field. I just like guys like that. All right, so we're in the red zone here. And once again, I am not as smart as the coaching staff, but if you are an LSU coach, you understand Max Johnson's struggles. So it puts more pressure on you as a play caller to get it right, okay? And that's really tough, okay? Because you start trying to get cute and doing things that are very suboptimal, and this is one of those cases. Once again, this is not to pile on Cole Taylor, but on this play right here, it is 1st and 10. The design of this play is to get everyone thinking we're going to hit Jack Bech in the flat, but instead we're going to throw this ball in the flat to Cole Taylor, okay? So we get what we want for this play to work. We get Cole Taylor on the slip, okay? And we get a blitzer coming off the edge, okay? So you notice the defense is respecting this side of the formation, and we're slipping Cole Taylor out to the left, and what we need here is a decent throw from Max. Also, Cole Taylor needs to get flat to give himself more room to make this safety miss. But you notice what happens here. Cole Taylor begins to drift. His footwork gets a little strange here, and Max actually throws his ball a little flatter because he thought Cole Taylor was going to do it. But Cole Taylor is 6'6". He struggles to change direction. The ball is semi-accurate. I just don't understand why we are running design slip screens to Cole Taylor anyway, who's not going to make anyone miss. You see, look, everyone, all 12 of these LSU fans are wondering, what the heck are we doing? And ironically, that was Max's first incompletion. And then we start another frustrating thing. I like Chris Hilton a lot. I hope they don't burn his red shirt. I know he's played 2-ish games, maybe 3. If this is his 4th, just shut him down. If I was Chris Hilton's parents, I would go to the coaching staff and say, look, my son is buried on the depth chart. I don't want his year to get burned. At this point, this situation is different than Garrett Nussmeier's, where he is the top backup quarterback, and Garrett Nussmeier should be playing right now, or at the very least should be available. We've talked plenty of times about that. But in this case, Chris Hilton should not be playing right now. Shut him down. Let him get completely healthy. But the thing I don't get here is we're running a screen to Chris Hilton. And once again, it's actually a good call here. We're getting a blitz. We're showing run with this pulling Jack BECH. Look at how well Jack sells this. Look at that. Good stuff. He cuts this guy's knee, and that's good. So we are getting exactly what we want here. Blitzing guy, really fast wide receiver. Ball is thrown on the money. The only way this play can work, though, is if we get a good block right here from BTJ. Okay? As many of you know, BTJ is not as good of a blocker as pretty much any receiver on the team. But he and Chris Hilton are good friends. So let's get this block for Chris. Probably, if you're BTJ, you want to take more of a direct route here. But he doesn't. And Chris Hilton kind of slows down and just trips on his own feet. Once again, when you haven't played much, it's tough, right? I just still don't understand during this portion of the game why that isn't Malik Nabers getting that ball or just anyone else instead of a guy who's barely played. And look, this game is still in the balance right here at 7-0. We did eventually get the block, but because it wasn't clean, it kind of got in Chris Hilton's way, and he just tripped on himself. Once again, that's 100% on Chris Hilton. You still got to keep your feet, pick up the 4 or so yards that were there, but we don't. So once again, the play calls here aren't bad per se. It's just who you're throwing the football to that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So now we get the Circus 3rd down play. The funny thing was the defense wasn't even ready. Max wasn't ready. And this is just really good football IQ by JARAY. Okay? So everyone just kind of stops. They don't even know what's going on. They weren't ready for the snap. Ball is on the ground. Max falls on his own feet. It's just sitting right there. And JARAY does a smart thing here not to give up on the play. Max gets up, and we get an easy touchdown here. And once again, we are walking in. But as many of you know, Max's knee was on the ground. Liam steps on his foot right there, so that causes him to fall down again. And this is Kellen Mond in 2018 all over again. Max's knee was on the ground when he picked it up. Okay. But really good heads-up play by JARAY just to keep playing. Alrighty, so we get a J. Ward interception. It was a great pick. And I'm not sure if J. Ward's foot was out of bounds here. So they overturned the young man's pick 6, and we get a first down after a favorable call, a few Corey Kiner runs, and now we are here. This is a really good play call right here. They started crowding the box. We're in a heavier set, so just pitch and catch to the outside. We need DeVonta Lee to make this guy miss. This is a ULM corner. You are one-on-one. Do something. Make him miss. Okay? We do pick up some good yards, but we don't make a miss. At least we fall forward for a good gain on first down. So let's see what happens here on second down. Okay? We get a carry here to Corey Kiner. Good job by Garrett Dellinger washing this guy out. Now we just need Corey Kiner to make a play. And Cole Taylor gets thrown to the side, and we can't really get anything going here. Let's see what happens here. Did JONTRE miss a block? Let's see. Could Corey have cut in on this block right here? No, he got too gapped right here. So once again, it's Cole Taylor getting drilled back into Corey Kiner here. Maybe he should stop and cut back. But honestly, if we get a decent block right here by Cole Taylor, either wash him just completely down or turn him outside right here. So go to the inside shoulder and kick him out this way. But once again, Cole Taylor gets too gapped right here. And you notice we had this play perfectly blocked. So if Cole Taylor would have gotten play side right here, Corey Kiner would have run for a touchdown or at least been one-on-one versus this safety. Look at this. Look at our offensive line, guys. Not going to lie, this was the best game I've seen from an LSU offensive line in a long, long time. This is just ridiculous. Look at this. This is domination, okay? Once again, a little too much penetration here for Delhi, but he did a good job resetting and just washing this guy out of the play. If we're just getting a decent block right here, or if Corey just feels this out and cuts back into the space, once again, it's hard when your tight end's getting ragdolled that bad. But still, there was a lot more yards left right there. So we get a good short yardage run here by TDP. And we're picking up this first down. Once again, everyone's doing their job. Good block right here by Dellinger. And this is just excellent right here by Ed Ingram. We cut it up into this space right here. Look at that. You couldn't block that any better on that 3rd and 2. You would like to have seen TDP get through this a little cleaner. Good job by 94 resetting right here. And getting some push into TDP. We would have liked that to be a little bit cleaner right there. But we do pick up some really good yards, really well blocked play right there. So as we brought up earlier in the film study, this is where LSU really struggles. 1st and goal from about the 7, 8, or 9. As you guys saw versus Alabama, we could not convert in this very similar spot. And right here, Max, perfect read right here on this RPO. Okay, he sees that all these guys are attacking downhill, so this leaves the middle of the field open right here. The only thing here is Max's read is to Devonta Lee. Scored on an RPO from Max versus Central Michigan. If Max would have somehow looked backside, he would have had open slants right here. You'll see it in a second. But the pressure was just too much. Still, Max throws a dime right here. If you're Devonta Lee, you've got to catch this. DB did a good job getting his hand in there and making a play on it. So give Six a lot of credit here. But if you get 2 hands on the ball, especially in the red zone, you've got to squeeze that sucker in. So that's on Devonta Lee. So right here, I probably would have called a run versus this semi-light box. And that is exactly what happens here. They do back out, okay? Or they are playing flat-footed. I would not have minded a run here. But, once again, this goes down to Max's pocket presence, guys. If they are sinking this far back and they are playing across the goal line, you have got to tuck it and run it and take these yards. You don't have to be an elite runner to tuck this ball and just run and take these yards. I think Rodriguez, ULM's quarterback, did a good job of that. So when they're sitting that far back, take these yards and make it a more manageable 3rd, okay? But instead, we do this, okay? And you probably would have picked up 2 or 3, okay? We throw it. I don't know what this was. A throwaway isn't bad right there. Live to see another down. But this is kind of weird without having the end zone angle. I do think Jack Besh was open here. So we're running some form of scissors, I think. It's hard for me to see without actually having the all-22. So they're sitting. I mean, they got 3 guys sitting on these drags right here. And Jack Besh is open. And his hands are in the air. He's like, wait, hold on. What are we doing here? This play was just weird. Once again, that's kind of a difficult throw for Jack without knowing what type of specific route he was running. but still, this was a wasted down. The right move right there is to tuck it and take those yards. Make it a 3rd and goal from the 6 or a 3rd and goal from the 5, which, all right, and this right here is Max's worst play in the night. This is just bad. There's no excuse for this. You could be, and we do have some serious Max defenders on this channel. You could be the biggest Max defender. And once again, I say it all the time. I defend Max Johnson because he hasn't had the absolute best protection. He doesn't have Kayshawn anymore. The play calling isn't the best. But here, the protection's really good. Once again, giving up too much surge right here from Liam, but Ed is right there. So your pocket right here is good, okay? But instead of, once again, stepping up into the pocket, we think drifting out to the left is the right thing to do, okay? So Max rolls out to the left, and he decides to throw across his body. He made a similar throw versus Ole Miss, rolling out to his left, trying to throw it to Trey on a 2-point conversion try last year, and this is just never going to be completed. In fact, a decent defensive back, Texas A&M's good safeties, are picking this football off. I don't know how the DB didn't pick the ball off when, he's reading this. This should have been a clean interception. Instead, it's a good bat away, and once again, that's just such a dumb throw. There's no defending that throw. That throw is taking 3 points off the board. Okay, once again, this is a low percentage play from the get-go. If you're a quarterback, that's why scrambling on second is so important right there, because 3rd and goal from your 9-yard line is a less likely completion percentage than 3rd and 9 from basically everywhere else on the field, because safeties can play a little more downhill because they don't have to worry about getting beat over the top. So once again, that 7, 8, and 9-yard line in an and goal situation is really tough as a quarterback, right? And it's just tough as a play caller, but you still can't do blatantly irresponsible things such as this crap. You just can't do it. Once again, yes, Liam is giving up too much bull rush right here, but you've got to step up. Okay, once you feel that this guy is out here, fake going this way and step up into the pocket. And look, if you step up and make a mad dash, you have a chance here, okay? And look, if he would have stepped up into the pocket, once again, Trey, good football IQ. If you step up into this pocket right here, okay, 2 hands on the football, step up, you would have been able to hit Trey. It would have been tough. It would have taken a really good throw. You would have been able to hit Trey streaking this way. It would have had to have been a high throw. Once again, I don't know if Max has that in his repertoire. I do know Nuss can make that throw. But look, there is nothing here. They're sitting on everything right here. Once again, you're not going to get there with this guy, but you just got to run. Right there, you just got to run. And we're doing this crap. Should have been picked off. All right, so defense does its job. We get a 3 and out here. And I want you just to see Max Johnson, what happens when he just sits in the pocket and he doesn't just sprint this way. Just sit, enjoy this good pocket, and boom. Look at all the options that opens up. Once again, we don't want you falling off your back foot, okay? Just sit. Just sit right here, okay? Once again, footwork's not the best, but at least he's not running around. You could throw it right here. You could, well, only here would have been there. But notice Max could run, obviously right here. But he actually makes the right read, okay? And he throws a strike. It could have been deflected. It does look like the ball, it's kind of hard to see, did take a little bit of a deflection, but the ball is right there and it hits JARAY right in the hands. You got to catch it. So now we get the 3rd and 6 touchdown to Malik, and this is just, once again, really good quarterbacking by Max Johnson. So we're running 2 drag routes, or we're running a drag right here. Of course, you can hit Jack Besh, but we want to drive the football down the field. And you notice here, they run a twist stunt, and it actually does get home. So Marlon Martinez is into the game. This defensive tackle comes around the edge. So protection is decent enough here, and Max Johnson throws an absolute strike right where it needed to be. We were able to get Malik Nabers on a safety, and then it's just off to the races. Malik Nabers, once again, continuing his fantastic true freshman season, and he is to the house. All right, so we move ahead to here, and you notice ULM makes a little bit of a switch, right? They make this defensive end a standing defensive end, and this is a more similar look to what defenses did against us or other defenses. And look what they did here. So they actually dropped this end, and they're blitzing this guy on a delayed blitz. And look at us pick this up perfectly, okay? Once again, Brad Davis could be the best offensive assistant we have on the team. That's really good stuff right there. I want you just to see how hard this was to pick up, okay? Look, 1st and 10, all right? They're getting exotic. I think they waited a little too long to get exotic with their defensive looks. Good chip right here by Cole Taylor to help out right here, and we are picking this up beautifully, okay? Max Johnson sits in this pocket, good footwork, and he delivers a strike to Trey Palmer, and he drops it, okay? And the ball needed to be high to make sure it cleared this linebacker, and you just got to catch this, ladies and gentlemen. You just do. We also had JONTRE on this dig right here, and they are playing their safety so far back on this 1st and 10. Once again, they sunk so deep into their zones that you can hit Cole on this check down. You can hit this swing route. Legit, this is one of the rare times where 4 of your 5 wide receivers or 4 of your 5 options would have been a good option. This would have been a good option. JONTRE might actually be the better option here. But still, this is wide open. Ball is a little high, but this is something I've seen LSU's wide receivers do this year. They mistime. I don't know what it is. They mistime their jumps. The ball, once again, has to be a little bit higher to make sure it clears his backer. You still got to catch this. This is a bad drop right there by TREY. But once again, TREY, they missed him on a touchdown earlier. With Max on the route breakoff. Him and TREY just have it's never on the same page. You guys know that drives me nuts, that the coaching staff just can't see this for whatever reason. And we actually give up a sack on here. So this slot corner is coming. This was just bad communication because this is not a hard read to make. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys can potentially come, and we have 6 guys to pick it up here. But TDP goes out on a route, and Ed Ingram just doesn't see it. Okay, and you can see it right here. I don't know if, once again, slot, safety, or nickel blitzes, whatever. Maybe Jack needs to yell and let them know, hey, he's coming. What a lot of teams do is they'll point. What they'll do is they'll point and say, look, this guy is showing blitz. And you need to just scream it if you're Jack Besh. You need to scream this. If you're Max, you need to get up to the line and say, look, this guy is coming hot. So maybe this isn't on Ed. Maybe someone else was supposed to make a call here. But nevertheless, this was the only real just blown assignment. And once again, ULM made this switch too late to get out of their traditional four-man rush and getting exotic here, and it worked. It worked. It got LSU off the field here, or it made it a third and a gazillion. And it's just a good defensive call. So, yeah, I mean, these blitzes are really tough to pick up. But if you are Ed and you see that this defensive tackle is going through this A-gap, maybe you should peek and just see if there's anyone coming through this gap to help out Delhi here. But yeah, they're able to pick up a good sack here. Now, we get a 3rd and 19, and once again, ULM just sinks back into these ridiculously deep zones. And Max Johnson right here throws just an absolute dagger of a throw to JARAY. Good blitz pickup, really good pass protection here, especially on a long developing route. A little too much surge, but once again, you know, if you're Max, we want to drive the football down the field. You can hit Jack right here. You can hit Josh right here for a little dink right there. You know, once again, you're probably not going to get this, but they do sit. This is such a great throw right here by Max. They do sit in really deep zone. I mean, they are deep on a 3rd and 19, and JONTRE makes one of the best catches of the season. He gets drilled right here, and it sets up a manageable 4th right here. Really well done. And you'll see it here. This angle just is a good reminder of how difficult quarterback play is, because Max, as you can see, it's not a clear line of sight to deliver this football. It's a rifle. That is look at how tight that spiral is. Really catchable ball. All hands catch right there by JONTRE, and he secures it. So now we get to 4th and 4. I'd rather just go for it, but all honesty, this was a perfect throw. So the point of this is to get JONTRE on a comeback route here, and you notice when he fights back, it wasn't the cleanest route in the world, and 0 is right there. Okay, JONTRE would have come back and caught this ball. Okay, that was a perfect throw. It really was. It wasn't a bad call by Ed Orgeron. I know he said in the post game, but yeah, JONTRE just slipped, and it's a pick. And a little bit later on this play, Savion Jones makes a really nice tackle to save the day here. This is some good hustle right here from the true freshman defensive end to run this guy down. So, yeah, you know, I mean, it was there. Once again, Alex Adams with some good hustle here as well. I mean, it was there. But still. He scored a touchdown. It was some form of a busted assignment. So give them credit. They were able to respond and make this a 17-7 game. Good call right here by Jake. Just our bread and butter play. We run this on 1st down a lot. Get this football to Jack BECH. Good job right here by Max to pump fake and give Jack a little bit more room to work with. Just good offense right here on 1st down. And we pick up some good yards. And, of course, Jack does Jack BECH things with the football in his hands, falls forward, and we pick up a good 5 yards. Just a failure of the Ed Orgeron era. I don't get this play call at all. Okay, once again, Max, as critical as I've been of him in certain spots, he's playing really well. He's had some drops, okay? Where he's really struggled, obviously, is the red zone or just in plus territory, but he's been good, right? Now, we do get a light box here. So we have 5 guys to block 6 of their guys, right? It's a relatively light box, and they had been dropping back into zone. So let's run against their traditional 4-man front. The issue with this, though, isn't so much the play call. It's partially, giving Josh Williams this touch in a critical portion of the game. Okay? Josh Williams is a great story. Former walk-on who I believe now is on scholarship. But, I mean, he's had 2 big runs, one versus Ole Miss last year and one on a perfectly blocked play versus Florida. I don't quite understand this right here, other than trying to bleed clock. And this is another instance of this not making a whole lot of sense. The one time Max tucks and runs with it is the one time when he shouldn't, okay? It's 3rd and 8. This is an all or nothing down right here, okay? I understand. I think the reason why he tucked it and ran with it is because he wanted to make sure he could keep the clock running, and I totally get that. Honestly, he could have done more with this. There's plenty of space for him to run right here, but, you know, once again, if you're Malik, there's not a whole lot he can do. If you're Max, I don't know why you don't run into this space right here, but instead we just run right into this guy, and he makes a really good open field tackle. Does a better athlete pick up the first down right there? Maybe. There was a clear rushing lane right there. But couldn't Max have held on to this step up right here and let Malik clear out? Yeah, I mean, if you just wait just a half second, Malik is peeling out right here for an easy dink and dunk first down right there. And once again, we were short. It is good, though, that he scrambled. And if we wanted to go for it on 4th down, which I think we should have here, it's 4th and 1.5. I just go for it here. But still, the second down call was just so bad. Okay, so we punt the football away, and Terry Bowden, once again, his dad, legendary coach. Terry, also very successful, former ESPN analyst. This is the 3rd time, I believe, this year where LSU's conservatism at the end of the first half does not bite them because the opposing coach was conservative as well. If you're a ULM fan, I would be furious that Terry Bowden made this laughably bad coaching decision here. With all 3 timeouts, you're down by 10. You had been moving the football on the LSU defense, and they get the ball first to start the second half. You're down 2 possessions. He just gave away this possession with all 3 timeouts left. The LSU offense, yes, they had dropped some passes, but it wasn't as if they were just absolutely amazing. I don't get why ULM in this game. It would have been a far more interesting ending if you at the very least get in field goal range. And even if you're aggressive and you go 3 and out here, still, it's not a guarantee that LSU is going to score. Because guess what? You as a head coach has to know that LSU is going to be conservative, because every single game under the Ed Orgeron era in the last year or so, LSU has been uber conservative at the end of the first half, especially when they know that they're going to get the football first to start the second. So after a really good first down run, you've got to pedal to the metal, try your best to at least get a field goal out of it, knowing that LSU on their end is also going to be very conservative. This was awful coaching right there by Terry Bowden. And he gave some really bad excuse for, I felt when they went for the fake punt, they were trying to get ahead and momentum and all that crap. No, you have the momentum right now. So you're down by 2 possessions. And teams that Arkansas made this mistake yesterday where they had a 4th and 5 deep in their own territory, and only down by 6, they punted the football, and Alabama only needed 10 or 15 yards to get into field goal range. You've got to be aggressive. That's why, if you're a Dave Aranda guy or if you're a Lane Kiffin guy, at least and Aranda's been better on fourth down than Kiffin, who's been a little too aggressive. You've got to have in your mind to pull off a massive upset like this, that you're going to need every last possession and every little bit of advantage you possibly can have. So after this run on first down, this is where you as a coach has got to say, all right, LSU is not good at the end of the second quarter. And Mississippi State, they made the same mistake where Mississippi State had all 3 timeouts left, and they had the opportunity to actually go score points before the end of the half, and Mike Leach decided not to do it. I don't know why, but just older coaches from yesteryear just play things too conservatively, especially knowing you have another conservative head coach across the way. Terry Bowden cost him potentially this game. There's no telling how different this game is. I mean, you guys saw how many point-blank touchdowns they missed in this game. This was so bad. But still, there is a learning lesson here for LSU. So here's the thing. With 34 seconds left to go, I don't like how downhill we are in this situation. So we do have a single high safety here. But notice how close we are to the line of scrimmage here, and we bring a safety into the box here to help defend this run. We don't want to do that. It doesn't make any sense because this leaves, you guys have seen us get killed in one high. This is the old look LSU defense. We don't want to give away easy reads. So Rich Rod in this situation, I'm shocked. Once again, Terry Bowden didn't allow Rich Rod to try and get points. I would have tried to throw versus this, okay? Once again, our depth, we're very close. There's huge pockets of space to work with. It is clear we're in our traditional man coverage where crossing routes would be open in this situation. So if you're LSU, especially at the end of the half here, or just pretty much any time, you want to make sure you don't get back into old habits, which they kind of did here. Now, lucky enough, they did decide to run this football. Once again, it's inexplicable that they decided to do this. We got lucky that they decided to run the half out. BJ made a really good play right there. But once again, I don't know why you don't just stay with your safety back there and play a little bit more conservatively, because we want them to run. We want to play safe. Stopping them right here compared to right here, there isn't really that much difference at this portion of the field. Boom, I'm looking at you right now. We're not going to break down the second half as detailed as we did in the first, but I do want to show Max Johnson some serious love here. We averaged 7.1 yards per play in the first half, and we only finished the game averaging 5.3. This was one of the only good second half plays, okay? Look at this. Excellent stuff. Max Johnson, blitzer, coming unblocked, perfectly timed blitz. This is what ULM wants. One of their athletic guys going up against Max. He makes a miss, keeps his eyes down the field, doesn't panic, has BTJ wide open, throws a very catchable ball. So what we're going to do is show you this play and stop it right here, okay? How many of you, if I would have just shown you this freeze frame without you knowing the result, how many of you would have guessed BTJ would have scored a touchdown right here? Look, 3 guys right here have him dead to rights. We don't have a blocker anywhere close to these 3 guys, but we cut, and BTJ goes to where his blockers are, to the outside. Good job, good hustle right here by Trey Palmer. But I want you to think about all our film studies, okay? The Florida game. And I want you to remember that Florida film study in particular. What can you remember about that film study that you see here at the end of this play right here? BTJ, excellent stuff. And I'm just asking you, if you're watching this live or if you're just watching this to yourself, okay, so we're going to show you this replay right here. And I want once again, this is just so good for Max. It really is so good. Make this guy miss. He times his juke perfectly this time. Good stuff. And he just keeps his eyes down the field, gives a little pump fake, and just floats that ball into that space. Really well done right there. Okay? And then, of course, BTJ does the rest. All hands catch. But I want you to watch the end of this play. And as this play moves along here, I want to thank you guys for once again liking and subscribing to the channel, Film Study Sundays. Potentially, we might only have one more of these. But let me know if you guys would like to do a live chat for the SEC Championship game. I'm trying to think of some different things that we can do because LSU football is about to end, especially if we don't beat Texas A&M. So, this is where I honestly don't think the coaches make adjustments. I don't. Because, once again, this was something we brought up during the Florida game where on 3 separate instances, 2 by Ty Davis-Price, 1 by Dwight McGlothern, they drop the football right at the goal line. LSU has a history of this, and this is really close. Okay? That is... I mean, once again, these pylon cams have freeze frame, and they can see pretty close. Even to the naked eye, it looks like he was in very comfortably, and he is in. But what difference does it make than to just hold the ball for a few more steps to make sure you actually got into the end zone? I would just, and once again, this has happened a lot with the LSU team. We showed you that in the Florida game. I would just go to the guys and say, look, we don't mind you celebrating. So that's the funny thing, right? And LSU has an extensive history of making this mistake. Obviously, Kayshon Boutte made this mistake last year. Justin Vincent had a really close call in the 2003 National Championship game. And if you want to see that history, we'll link it down below. But what happened last year with Kayshon Boutte is JONTRE KIRKLIN was on the field, and he went to go actually pick up the fumble. And a lot like in the Florida game, the bigger mistake is not just by BTJ, okay? He's caught up in the moment. What Chris Hilton and all the other receivers should do if a player is to do this, and the same thing applies to the ULM defenders, go pick it up. Go pick this ball up just to make sure that we get this touchdown, because let's say it was reviewed. If Chris Hilton would have gone to pick up the fumble, the rule states whoever has a clear fumble recovery would get possession of the ball. Okay, so let's just say BTJ did drop it a little early. Chris Hilton would have gotten credit for the touchdown had he picked it up. But if he didn't pick it up, that would have been a touchback, and ULM's ball is on the 20. Now, I understand. It seems like I am being the fun police when I'm actually doing the opposite. I have long said that players at the college level should be allowed to celebrate when they reach the end zone. So, yeah, the second half wasn't nearly as good as the first, and as many of you know, ULM just missed so many opportunities, 2 point-blank touchdowns. They ran the Philly special, and they completed a few 4th and longs as well. But this is just such a good play design, and this is something LSU defensively needs to fix. One thing, whether it's Mississippi State or Arkansas last week, that they are not good at defending are wheels to the tight end and the running back. So what this play is designed to do is this guy's running a crosser here, this guy's running a crosser here, and obviously we're playing man coverage, and whoever's man the tight end was just left him because he disguised this so well. He's in a 3-point stance, there's an extra tight end here, and it just looks like he's down blocking on this end. So both of our linebackers let him roam free, and he's just going to be wide open. So 2 things about this play. The first is Defensively, we need to fix these wheels and leaks because we're giving up too many explosive plays on these types of plays, because obviously Texas A&M is going to do their film study and they're going to see that these types of plays have been open. And the second thing is, how many times have you seen our offense this year scheme up something to where someone is wide open like that? It's few and far between, right? So it shows you not only LSU's defensive weakness to this play, but also the offensive weakness that we have, because rarely do you see us getting touchdowns like that one. Boom! This is the funnest part of the video. We take a look at the box score and we try it and match up with what we learned from today's film study, okay? So the first thing is I always look at the yards per play data. That is, to me, the most important stat outside of course, the score. And as you see in the point that we made plenty of times, not only in the post-game live stream from last night, but obviously, right now, is LSU averaged 7.1 yards per play in the first half, but then in the second half, that number went down to 5.7 for the entire game, which shows you that the LSU offense was not as explosive in the second half as they were in the first, which is a troubling Ed Orgeron trend where his teams take the foot off the gas pedal. We don't put teams away. We never play dominant four-quarter football. In fact, there's really only 2 games in the last 21 where you could point and say LSU was the dominant football team on offense and defense for the majority of the game. That was last year against Vanderbilt, by far the worst team in the SEC, and this year versus Central Michigan. That's it. And that is troubling because obviously LSU has a lot of talent. Now, we'll get to Max Johnson in just a second, but the bottom line is this. The defense was once again dominant, okay? And LSU did outgain them by 100 yards. But let's not take away the fact that this ULM offense missed 2 point-blank touchdowns on 4th and goal, and they just missed more opportunities. I thought ULM should have never taken Rodriguez out in favor of the true freshman that they kept putting into the game, who was deer in the headlights. Also, just their overall conservatism, not only at the end of the first half. I thought ULM should have got more exotic defensively early, but instead they played traditional 4-man rushes, and Max Johnson, for the most part, tore that apart. Where the LSU team struggled was when ULM did get more exotic. Now, we focus a little bit more on LSU, and to me, the MVP of this game, outside of course, the true freshman wide receivers, Jack Bech, BTJ, and Malik Nabers, they pretty much carried us in this game. But really, the MVP was this LSU offensive line, which did a really good job in this game. I mean, they just dominated ULM, in particular in pass pro. Max Johnson's pocket presence, it was a little noisy, but if you dominate the way that you dominate in pass pro, it makes those mistakes look not as bad. So give Brad Davis a lot of credit getting this LSU offensive line ready to go. You also look at some more advanced stats from GameOnPaper.com, where you look at a stat like EPA. Once again, LSU not good on early downs and not good in the middle 8, which is the last 4 minutes of the second quarter and the first 4 minutes of the third. LSU's always struggled there, and once again, I can't get over Terry Bowden being very conservative at the end of the first half when LSU has been really bad in that spot. So, yeah, I mean, look, LSU still has holes. Obviously, the middle 8, early downs, and also the red zone. LSU is just not a good red zone team. So, yeah, I mean, there are still a lot of holes on this football team for them to get ready to play Texas A&M and beat them so they could be bowl eligible. So, as we always do an analysis of the most important player on the team, which is the quarterback, and Max Johnson's QBR was better, 61.3 compared to other games. But for those that aren't too familiar with QBR, Yes, you look at Max Johnson's basic stats: 22 of 33, 66.7 completion percentage, which is really good. 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but the QBR is still not that great at 61.3, and that's because ULM is really bad. We can't say this enough. ULM is not a good football team. They were a 4-6 team in the Sun Belt. They beat Liberty. Okay, that's great, but they lost 3 games since then, and now this was their 4th. I do think Max overall was good in this game. Once again, still a lot of holes and limitations for a second-year starter, but once again, this is only year 2 of his development. Pocket presence is still very erratic. You obviously missed some big opportunities in this game. I also don't think it helps Max, though. Yes, the offensive line was really good in this game, but it doesn't help that LSU rotates their skill guys in so heavily. I just would like to see a heavy dose of BTJ, Malik, Jack BECH, maybe JARAY, since Max and JARAY have such good rapport. I would like to see those 4 wide receivers really get most of the reps from now until the end of the season. So obviously comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on today's film study. Seeing Max run some was encouraging. Seeing Max deliver the football on time was encouraging, but still a lot to work on for LSU to beat Texas A&M. Now, I did a Jimbo Fisher deep dive for the potential next LSU head coach, and there is one stat, it'll be floating in your face right now, that actually will help LSU potentially win this game on Saturday. And if you want to see it, it is floating in your face right now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you soon, baby. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom! Oh, we're doing burgers tonight. Let's go.